everyone, today's topic is current division in parallel circuit of resistors. So this is a parallel circuit which I am going to consider. Here I have connected two resistors in parallel. When resistors are connected in parallel, the voltage will remain same but the current is getting to be divided. Therefore, the current across each resistor I am going to take it as I1 and I2. Applying KVL, the sum of currents entering should be equal to the sum of the currents leaving the junction. The entering current is I and the currents which are leaving are I1 and I2. We can write the equation as the currents entering, that is I, is equal to currents leaving the junction, that is nothing but I1 plus I2, which is equal to, according to Ohm's law, I is equal to V by R. Therefore, the current flowing through R1 is equal to voltage divided by the resistance value, that can be written as V by R1 plus the current flowing through I2 is equal to V by R2. That is equal to V, I am taking it as common, into 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Taking LCM, R1 plus R2 by R1 R2. Therefore, V is equal to I into R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. So, once we have completed the calculation of V, then we are going to find out the current flowing through each resistor. So, the current flowing through R1, that is I1, is equal to V by R1. Substitute the value of V. V is equal to I into R1 by I into R1 R2 by R1 plus R2 into 1 by R1. R1 R1 will get cancelled, which is equal to I into R2 by R1 plus R2. The current flowing through R2 resistor is I2, which is equal to V by R2, that is equal to V. V is equal to I into R1 R2 by R1 plus R2 into 1 by R2. R2 R2 will get cancelled, that is equal to I into R1 by R1 plus R2. Therefore, from these equations we can conclude that the current flowing through any branch is equal to the total current I multiplied with opposite resistance, that is R1 divided by sum of the resistances, that is R1 plus R2. Now let us consider an example. Determine the current flowing through each resistor, and this is the circuit given, and we need to find out the currents flowing through 10 ohms resistor and 20 ohms resistor. So when we want to find out the current flowing through each resistor, first we need to determine the total current. In order to find out the total current I, here the resistors 10 and 20 are connected in parallel. When two resistors are connected in parallel, the equivalent resistance is equal to R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. So substituting the values, 10 into 20 by 10 plus 20, that is equal to 6.67. Therefore, I is equal to V by R, that is V by R equivalent, that is 50 by 6.67, which is equal to 7.5 amperes. After calculating the value of I, then we are going to determine the currents flowing through each resistor. When we want to find out the current flowing through R1 resistor, the formula is I1 is equal to total current, that is I, into opposite resistance. The resistor which is opposite to 10 ohms is 20 ohms. Therefore, 20 by sum of the resistances, that is 10 plus 20. So, here is a formula. I1 is equal to total current, that is 7.5, into opposite resistance. The resistance which is opposite to 10 ohms, that is 20, by sum of the resistances, 10 plus 20, which is equal to 5 amperes. Then what is I2? I2 is equal to total current I into opposite resistance. The resistance which is opposite to 20 ohms, that is nothing but 10 ohms. Therefore, 7.5 into 10 by sum of the resistances 10 plus 20, which is equal to 2.5 amperes.